knew she had no choice but to comply. Surprisingly, despite being rescued, Seonho wasn't entirely fond of Hyunhup's dramatic intervention, but she was nonetheless still deeply thankful for her help. After his meeting with Gyu-jin, Ji-wook went to the local bar near the scene of Jung-min's murder and quickly discovered that Jung-min had been a regular there. He approached the bartender, asking about Jung-min, and the bartender recalled him being quite a strange one. At first, Jung-min was just a quiet guy, drinking alone, then leaving the bar without anyone by his side. But then, one day, he arrived wearing glasses and began a bizarre ritual of counting numbers in the air. That peculiar behavior once led to an enraged patron who, unable to tolerate the strangeness, violently punched him in the face. That evening, Seon-ae had just returned home when she spotted Hee-young from afar. Driven by a surge of defiance, she decided to follow her. What she then witnessed sent a jolt of satisfaction through her. Hee-young was meeting Mr. Sung-jin in front of a love hotel. Not wanting to miss this golden opportunity to finally blackmail the very bully who had tormented her throughout her school life, Seon-ae quickly pulled out her phone and snapped several pictures of Hee-young and Mr. Sung-jin as damning evidence. She then, with a triumphant smirk, sent the pictures directly to Hee-young, revealing that she now held an ace card in her hands. She felt, with a surge of newfound power, that she had finally gained the leverage to fight back against her tormentor. Hee-young, however, was not afraid in the slightest. Being a minor, she knew that the only one who would truly get into trouble was Mr. Sung-jin, not her. This unexpected lack of fear from Hee-young, however, paradoxically sparked a new cunning idea in Seon-ae's mind. As it turned out, after failing to intimidate Hee-young, Seon-ae decided to escalate and blackmail Mr. Sung-jin instead. She sent him the incriminating photo and demanded 20 million won to keep their secret quiet. Her motives were not to be taken for granted, but to make it clear that they were not entirely malicious. She had a specific reason. She desperately wanted to move out of her uncle's house. She confided in Hyunhup that she was utterly done living with Ji-wook and yearned for the independence of living alone. She then, somewhat abruptly, brought up Hyunhup's mother, asking if she was still alive. Hyunhup, who had been estranged from her mother and never contacted by her, wasn't sure if she was still alive. That night, Seon-ae's words, surprisingly, stirred something deep within Hyunhup, reminding her of the fact that she was still alive. Seon-ae's words, surprisingly, stirred something deep within Hyunhup, reminding her of the elusive warmth of family. From her window, she observed the seemingly happy scenes of families, picturing how wonderful it would be to belong to one. Yet even in her wistful contemplation, her S-line vision couldn't be ignored. She also noticed, with a pang of familiar cynicism, how each person in those families harbored their own clandestine affairs and secrets behind each other's backs, even within what appeared to be loving units. The next day, a terrified Mr. Sung-jin confronted Ha-young about the photo. He was absolutely petrified that their illicit relationship had been exposed to others. He even hysterically accused Ha-young of having told her friends about their secret. Ha-young, however, didn't lose her composure. With an air of calm defiance, she retorted that she too was a victim, and she would certainly not deliberately reveal their illicit relationship to others. One thing she knew for sure was that this was Seon-ae's doing. Seon-ae, on the other hand, now armed with the power to see the S-line thanks to the glasses in her possession, had gained an enormous boost of confidence. Truly stood up against her bully, but in a disturbing twist, she began to transform into a bully herself. She shockingly revealed another affair involving a different teacher. She even, with calculated malice, deliberately took one of her bully's boyfriends as her own, a direct act of revenge. This brazen act, however, truly sparked a dangerous seething anger in Ha-young's eyes. This all-false demeanor led Hyunhyup to directly confront Seon-ae, revealing that she too possessed the power to see the S-lines. Seon-ae, utterly shocked that someone else shared her uncanny ability, didn't immediately believe it, but Hyunhyup proved she wasn't bluffing. She knew intimate details, like Ha-young's affair with Mr. Sung-jin, the illicit relationship of another teacher, and she could even visibly discern the single S-line shimmering above Seon-ae's own head. This overwhelming evidence was more than enough to prove her words. Hyunhyup, assuming Sone was able to see the lines by wearing the special glasses, watched as Sone finally revealed the truth, confirming Hyun-hyup, having lived with the curse of the S-lines for years, tried to warn her friend about the dangers of such power, but Sone, now completely consumed by this newfound ability, defiantly declared that this was exactly what she wanted. Later that day, Sone, still intrigued by the S-lines, asked Hyun-hyup how someone could potentially get rid of them. Hyun-hyup, speaking from her own painful past, gravely explained that an S-line would only disappear from someone's head when they died. When that happened, the person connected to them would also lose that specific S-line. Meanwhile, Mr. Sung-jin sat alone in his car, a chilling smile slowly spreading across his face as he stared at a picture of him and Ha-young on his phone, seemingly hatching an evil plan. At the same time, Son-ae was enjoying an intimate moment with a boy from her school when suddenly her phone buzzed with a message from Mr. Sung-jin telling her he already had the money and asking her to meet him on the school rooftop. After that, Son-ae went to a photo booth with the boy, oblivious to the fact that someone in a hoodie was stealthily following them from behind. As they entered the photo booth, the mysterious stalker, who was none other than Ha-young, watched intently as Son-ae dropped her bag. Ha-young then slipped inside and snatched it. It was then revealed that Ha-young was the one who had stolen the photo booth from the. Ha-young had overheard Son-ae's conversation with Hyun-hyup in the school toilet earlier, and now knew that Son-ae possessed the power to see the S-lines by using a pair of glasses. This knowledge compelled her to brazenly steal the glasses from Son-ae's hand when Son-ae wasn't looking. However, Ha-young's triumph was short-lived because, as she walked through the city, witnessing the overwhelming S-lines all over people's heads, someone abruptly grabbed her from behind. After leaving the photo booth, Son-ae finally realized with a jolt that she had lost her. Son-ae immediately and incorrectly suspected that it was Hyun-hyup who had taken them. Hyun-hyup, however, was clearly not the culprit. Son-ae then revealed to Hyun-hyup that she was going to the school that night, a confession that immediately made Hyun-hyup suspect something terrible was about to happen. After this alarming call, Hyun-hyup didn't hesitate for a second to go after Son-ae, desperately hoping nothing bad would befall her friend. Son-ae, on the other hand, had already reached the rooftop and confronted Mr. Sung-jin, who had been patiently waiting for her there. Mr. Sung-jin, visibly desperate, begged her to drop the case and promised to do anything for her if she agreed to delete the incriminating photo. But Son-ae, consumed by her own rage, flatly refused. She was utterly sick of the teachers who constantly looked the other way, letting Ha-young and her gang mercilessly bully her, simply because they were afraid that Ha-young's boyfriend's father, who was an extremely important figure for the school, would take matters into his own powerful hands. Then, shortly after, Mr. Sung-jin received a devastating message. He was told that Hyun-hyup was the one who had stolen Hyun-hyup's glasses from the school. He then sent a message from his wife, revealing that she too had received the photo. This was the final breaking point for him. Enraged, he spun back to Son-ae, hysterically accusing her of having sent the photo to his wife. He furiously pushed Son-ae to the very edge of the wall and, just as Hyun-hyup arrived at the school, frantically looking around to find Son-ae, she witnessed the horrifying sight of Son-ae falling from the rooftop, landing right in front of her eyes. The S-line on Son-ae's head, however, was still visibly present, a chilling sign that she was, miraculously, still alive. Son-ae was immediately rushed to the hospital to receive urgent treatment to save her life. Not long after that, while Son-ae was undergoing a critical surgery, Ji-wook showed up and asked Hyun-hyup, who was waiting anxiously in front of the operating room, what had happened. Hyun-hyup simply stated that she found Son-ae falling from the rooftop,